Okay, guys, let's get started. I hope we will have more. We've got like 40-something people that are signed up for the class. Yeah, he just walked right in front of the camera. He just wrecked the opening shots. He did. Sir! Okay, so we want to start off by showing you the video that we put together with the pictures that you sent to us. Okay, there were a few people, and I'm not sure if they're here or not, but that sent stuff late. So some of your late stuff is in here, some of the late stuff is not. But I will add it before we put it online. Yes. So see, right now what I'm doing is I'm mirroring our iPad so that I can actually play this for you. Oh gosh. All right. All right. So here we go. So you saw me put that there at the end, right? It said who the music was by. That's something we'll talk about in another lesson, but when you do your videos, if you don't want to get into trouble with people that actually own the songs, you have to use music that lets you have that you get permission from the people that made the music to be able to do it. Well, not like iTunes, as a matter of fact. Like, for instance, if you, I hesitate to even say, if you were to pick a Justin Bieber song, which you would have horrible taste if you did that, okay? So that's the first part. But if you pick a Justin Bieber song and you put it at the end of your video, or you put it, put your slideshow to it, there's always a chance that as soon as you stick it up on YouTube, you're gonna get an email that says you need to take that down because the song belongs to us and we didn't give you permission to use it. This particular song comes from a guy that produces a ton of music, and he makes it available royalty free so long as you put something at the end that says this was written by him. So we'll point you towards those kinds of resources. You had a quick question?
Well, I can't say that I actually found a guy on YouTube who does that sort of thing, as long as you give him credit for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. They have different kinds of rights that they allow you to do, but you have to ask permission if you don't. Oh, totally and completely, and we'll talk about that too. Let's do a very quick introduction up here because
that was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Rachel Ivy.
Daryl
Hyde. We both have messed around with making stupid videos for
one or two.
For a few of them. What I love about what Daryl does is every year with his 5th grade class in the spring, as part of their English, they write a script together and they film it. And they edit it, and they put together a movie.
Now that I realize that Hunter and Sam are both in here, I'm going to have to bring the clips so you can laugh at them.
Yes.
When they were in 5th grade.
We love clips where you have to make fun of
Hunter's
of
is
people.
okay, Sam's is awful.
All right, so I will add people's homework that got it into me late this morning. I'll make sure we get that added to the video before we put it online. I've done some crazy videos in the past. They're really awful. They're so awful. And then they say that when you're trying to learn to do something, it takes like 10,000 repetitions or 10,000, I don't know, lots of hours. And you still look back at your first stuff and you go, oh, that was so bad. I would do things totally differently. And you felt the same way, I'm sure. Yeah? All right, so today's class is all about just kind of giving you an overview of what we're going to be doing and making sure that you can use a couple of apps, kind of understand how to do that to submit your homework. First thing we're going to do though is talk about what makes a video good. Does the camera have anything to do with it?
Camera has something to do with it, but not as much as people think it does. If you have something from the 90s, you probably need to get a new camera. But other than that, not particularly.
We're recording the class right now on my iPhone 6s. It shoots at 4K video, which is some of the highest stuff. I'm not even sure if you're in there or not. He's not. You are now? You're halfway.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, there we go.
Some bigger than the camera.
One of the downsides of these though is you don't have lenses that you can change out to make things go a lot wider. So you're kind of stuck with what you can see from your camera. But it's not the camera that makes a video good. It's how you make your videos, and that involves planning, which is what we're going to be talking about next week. It involves things like lighting. It involves, what did you say you thought was the most important yesterday? Sound.
Without a doubt.
Total sound. I've done some terrible videos where I picked a costume that were those Tyvek painter suits, and every time my people moved, it went shh, 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 shh. Like you can't even hear what they're saying for all of the scratchy noises that the videos are actually that the costumes are making. We can't recommend this video to you, and I'm not going to give you the name, but they've even started filming, some filmmakers have started filming feature films using their iPhones. There was one that went through the festival circuit, and then it went on to actually be released in theaters. It's just got some really inappropriate subject matter for your age group. It was really beautiful cinematography, The coloring was really interesting. They put all their money in the sound equipment though, not in the cameras. They shot it with the iPhones. They edited it professionally on computers, which is not what we're going to be doing in this class. But they put all their money in the sound because they knew that you have to be able to hear what's going on in order to be able to do stuff. So for every generation of phones that come out, we get better cameras, we get better processors, we get a better ability to do the kinds of things that we want to do creatively. And if you're here in this class, you've either already started making some videos or else you're real interested in figuring out how to do it. A lot of you said in your, when you filled out your online form that you were really interested in the editing. That's one of our classes as well. So this first lesson is the overview. Then what we're going to do next week is it's going to be about pre-production and planning. Getting your idea, planning out what you want to do, being organized so that you don't have to go back 3 weeks later and do reshoots because you forgot that one scene. Yeah, I've done that. Week after that, we're going to talk about actual shooting. So we're going to talk about what looks good, what can make the difference between a video that you switch off and a video that you keep on watching based on like different kinds of shots that you might do, how you set things up in the camera. Transitions, and then the class after that's going to be on editing. So we're really going to talk about, however long your video is, it probably needs to be shorter. It doesn't matter what length your video is, it probably needs to be shorter. And when you start taking out extra stuff, you start seeing a much better finished product. Then we're going to do a class on sharing, and that's where we're going to talk about the copyright issues, how to share safely. And also not making the kind of videos that are essentially bullying. I'm not down with any of the videos where you're trying to punk somebody and make them look stupid. And then our last class will be all about special effects, special apps that you can use that are going to actually put that little extra kind of something in your video,
And
right?
practical effects,
You know,
too,
like
right?
like the dramatic astronaut walk.
That's not it.
That's not it. No, I'm not very dramatic
Say
as my
one.
astronaut. But there's all kinds of apps that if you find yourself saying, gosh, I wish it looked like my characters were being viewed through a security camera footage. Like there's apps where you can actually load your footage in and put lines on it and make it look like, okay, this was a camera that was set up somewhere else. So we're going to talk about all of that. And I keep repeating myself. Okay. Mobile device rules.
Yeah, don't be texting if you want to be on the internet and it has something to do with this class. That's great, but we just prefer you guys being respectful to what we're doing, and we'll do the same. I won't be checking my text while we're doing this. I might check my Instagram because I'm super popular, but probably not during this class. I think I can wait until after. Okay.
And if you guys take pictures during class, like of each other and what you guys are doing, please, that's fine. When
if it's related to this
please
class,
do that.
it's
Please
clear.
send them to me. I will put them on our Facebook page. I will put them on our Instagram page. And if you're on Instagram, you can find us as it's at A Minor Film School. Same on Facebook. So yeah, I'm on there. He didn't know. He's not reading the emails.
We'll do it now. Do it
No.
later.
Okay. So before you leave, I want you guys to double check. If you haven't gotten any emails from me, I want you to double check and make sure I've got your email addresses, because that's going to be our main way of saying, here's homework. This is what we're going to do. Every week there's going to be homework, but it's not going to be the kind that's going to stress anybody out. We've got some funny examples because we've actually going to have you shoot some video this time. But there will be links to videos that we want you to watch that they're great. We've gone through them. They're either about shooting on mobile phones, or a lot of them, most of the ones that I've picked out were actually shot with a phone. Okay, so you'll get to kind of see what other people are doing with this device. I'll tell you a real brief story. When I was in high school, my last year of high school, all we had were the big giant video VHS cameras, right? So I was taking a Spanish class, and we were supposed to do, the big giant ones, the bazookas. And it wasn't mine, it was somebody else's. But in Spanish class, we were supposed to either like write and perform a play in front of the class, do a video, something like that. Just needed to be in Spanish, right? So I had two partners, got together, and we said, okay, and I was the crazy mastermind on this. I'm like, all right, so here's the idea. We write an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. We film it in English. And then we dub it over in Spanish. So it's like those bad Japanese movies. We're like, we are going now. You know, that's what we wanted. We wanted crazy like that. So it was a stupid storyline. We got all these people together. It was all about how the Enterprise ran on chocolate bars, and we had to locate the chocolate bars. It was crazy. So we filmed the whole thing. The guy that owned the camera swore up and down we could go back in and we could do the dubbing. We filmed the whole thing only to find out, yeah, there's no way to dub it. And we found out that the videotape that he brought was not actually a blank videotape. So every time we pressed pause, we got a few seconds of what was already on the videotape, which in this case was this kid's brother skateboarding on a ramp. So it would pause and then we'd go, and we're like, okay, how can we fix this? So we made a sign and it said, you know, we're having technical difficulties. Please watch the wide world of Klingon skateboarding championships, right? So we filmed a few seconds and we're like, okay, we got that covered. We filmed this whole thing, including the sequence with the Enterprise, and we suspended it on strings and we did it all together. But now that I'm looking back at that, I'm thinking, if I'd have had a device like this, I could have edited, I could have dubbed over, I could have fixed anything that needed to be fixed on it. And that's where you guys are. And that's why we're so excited to teach this class, is you guys have got devices in your pocket that when we were kids, we were wishing and dreaming. I mean, it was Star Trek type tech as far as we were concerned, something we would never get to. So if you guys are excited about filmmaking and you put some of these things into play, any little thing that you take away from this class is going to make your videos that much better, okay? We're going to finish all of this stuff up with a film festival.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! You want to tell them what we're gonna help them work towards for this?
Oh yeah, cool.
Step over so you can be in the camera. Disembodied head. Okay. There we go.
Anybody ever seen a movie trailer? That's going to be our end result. That's going to be our end goal for this summer. It's fairly short. The limit is the restrictions are from 30 seconds to 60 seconds, which may some of y'all seem like too short of a time, but once you start filling it, I think you'll find it's just about maybe too much in some cases. But your goal by the end of the summer or end of class is to, not this one, but the classes, is to create a movie trailer. We'll have a couple different genres we can talk about. Do you want to go ahead and do that now?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's pick.
If we're doing movie trailers, what we want to do is give you guys lots of freedom, but not too much because...
I apologize. It just started. I've got gremlins.
Oh, I thought that was something planned.
It was.
What we want to do is give you guys some freedoms, but not too many. Mostly because of those of you familiar with the creative process, if you have unlimited possibilities, it can be overwhelming very quickly, and we want to try to prevent that with y'all. But on the other hand, we want to give you lots of choices. So in this case, we want to, at the end of this class, we want to have a premiere a trailer from every single person in here. I'm personally excited about it because I'm going to use this in my classroom. But I would like to hear from you guys what genres of movies you would like to create trailers for. Because we want to come up with three different categories of movies, so that each of you will pick one of those three and make your trailer in that category. So we could do.
So action was one that we were talking about. Action could be sci-fi. Action could be a James Bond kind of thing. Action could be anything that involves lots of stuff going on. You know,
which is probably draws a lot of people to that. But what other categories would you guys be interested in doing? Yes. Fantasy?
Fantasy. That could, depending upon what kind of fantasy, that could totally fall under action, or it might be something else even, right? Okay, what else?
When we're done, we're going to vote on these, so y'all
Go
make
ahead.
sure you...
Mystery, yeah, that's interesting.
It's got great music for that. What else? Comedy?
Yeah, see, comedy was one I was thinking too. And of course, you can have an action comedy as well, right? So I guess what we need to decide is, do we want to have okay, so we're going to be talking about we're going to be developing prizes, right? Which we'll be talking with Ms. Polk about what we can do prize-wise, how many we can give out. You know, one idea would be, a
Here
shiny
it is.
quarter.
This is the prize.
Awesome.
Shiny.
Don't spend it all in one place.
I'm taking that
No,
back.
okay. Cheapskate. Okay, so do we want to have categories, or do we want everybody kind of competing in just trailer? What do you guys think? Because I mean, trailer, that's what he's saying is we're worried that if we just say, you know, top 3 movie trailers and an audience choice award, we're worried that's going to be way too open and. I know, that's what I'm asking. Okay, so let's see.
Love voting.
Does action seem like a good category that we want? Yeah? Okay. See, we're not going to get to it, and we're not going to say, unless you decide to do like Pride and Prejudice, and you have people talking these and
That would be
those,
cool.
and then you're like,
And
this is
zombies.
my action movie.
And zombies.
Then you'd be like, I know,
And
unless you
zombies.
added zombies like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies did, that's an action movie. Just Pride and
We can work
Prejudice
with
is
that.
not. We're not going to sit around and say, we're not sure this really fits the bill unless it's completely different.
I was thinking kind of like Sherlock Holmes.
Yes. See, now we've already had a couple people say mystery. What do we think? Is mystery another category? So that's okay. All right. Comedy.
What
We
else?
said comedy.
Comedy.
Do we want those to be the 3 categories, or can somebody? Does somebody have another idea?
Because like fantasy can easily fall under any of those other categories.
Yeah,
depending on what
absolutely.
kind you're
So
doing.
what do you guys think? Do those sound like good categories? Yes.
Any
Need some
objections?
move it.
You're allowed to
Yes.
speak.
Yes. Okay. So let me write that down so that we are doing that. We've decided.
So right
on-
now your brain should be thinking of, not that you have to have the answer today, but you should be thinking of what kind of trailer you'd like to do. Assuming, again, you've seen trailers on at theater or on TV, be a good idea to go home and maybe look at some trailers on YouTube or wherever else. Because you can find, if you look at ones for your favorite movies, that would be a good idea for what kind of trailer you'd want to create. And you're welcome to copy ideas. We like that, but we also like originality. So be thinking of ways that you can maybe look at trailers or movies you've already seen, but also ways to make them better or improve upon them and make them your own style.
And those of you that are shooting on Apple devices, don't use the iMovie built-in awesome trailer things, because I mean, it's cheating. It really would be, because that helps your trailers look so awesome without even trying. So in this one, you're going to have to actually shoot things, edit things, put it together. There's a few things. Okay, one word that we'll be using is the word asset. An asset is anything from music to a still picture to a piece of video that you can use. We're going to be providing you with a bunch of assets that you guys are welcome to use. So for instance, you know, when you start to see a trailer, you've got that green screen that says the following preview has been approved for all audiences. Yeah, I've got one of those. So I can let you take that image, pull it down, and drop it into the beginning of your trailer if that's what you want to do. You don't have to, but we got it available.
What if you decide, even though it's a G, to make it a PG-13 movie just for giggles?
Okay, that's a good point, and it's not something we specifically talked
It's
about.
not.
I will say no bad language, okay? But I'll be honest with you, we really like the fact that y'all are middle and high school kids, because there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with like Nerf guns and, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of like fake toy weapons out there. We don't have a problem with you bringing that stuff in.
Wow.
Poor old
I can't do
Daryl,
that in fifth
when he
grade
does it in
classroom.
5th grade, they won't let him do that.
I want to
you
blow
know?
up an alien so bad on screen. I've got every asset I need to do that. And I
Seriously.
can't.
Yes, right.
Someone I hope someone blow up an alien, especially
So
an Android
be,
person.
work with us, okay? That's one of the things that we're here for. If you think something might not be appropriate, bounce your idea
Yeah.
off of us before you get too far along in your project, because otherwise it's going to be, we would hate to have you have to start over.
Yeah, we'll pre-screen them before the big festival.
Yeah, you'll have to get 'em to
But
us,
I
and
hate to
then
have to tell you, we can't
Friends,
use yours.
family, there's going to be popcorn. It's awesome. Hayden, yes.
What happens if your neighbor allows you to use one of his Nerf guns?
Yes.
And
And then you break it. You have to
You have
pay
to pay
for
your
it.
neighbor.
Okay, no, go
no,
ahead.
We're
not
not
break it, not break it, not break it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you use it.
Yes.
Can you add some kind of special effects, so like it has like the exploding part when it? There are some tricky ways to do that, okay? And one thing you guys got to understand is we've got 3 basic categories of devices being used.
We've got Apple products, which are going to be anything from an iPod to an iPhone to an iPad. We've got Android devices. The Apple stuff is kind of my specialty. Android is Daryl's specialty.
Sure.
He says yes. And we have people shooting on Kindles, okay?
It's
So
very similar to the Android.
there are some apps that will go on all three of them. There are some that will only go for one or another. We're going to work with you to try to find that. So the answer to your question is, these trailers have to be start to finish done on a mobile device, okay? If you're taking your footage and you're putting it onto a desktop computer and you're doing stuff, you're outside of what we're trying to teach you how to do. It's always going to be easier if you have access to the access to the good programs on your desktop or your laptop to do the special effects. There's a couple apps I can think of that might allow you to get some of that barrel flare. If you can find an app, or you can work with me to use an app to put that in, you can, but it has to all be from your device itself. Once you guys move on to where you're doing this stuff on the computers, there's all kinds of programs that we normally work in. And tell them what you were telling me about trying to edit on your phone. He's going from
I'm
like
too old.
a desktop
Using
to
my
a
phone to edit is really difficult. Mostly it has nothing to do with my age, because what I've been doing for years is using a big screen TV at my house and editing using the Adobe Suite, After Effects and Premiere, which is what most of the big studios use or similar to it. And it's difficult using a tiny little screen, but I did play around with what you were showing me yesterday. It's doable.
It is.
Even though I'm an old dog learning new tricks. But for you guys, it should be a breeze, because you're used to using them anyway. And I'm hoping I can learn stuff from y'all. But it is going to be a challenge going from a big screen with $1,000 programs essentially to a 99-cent app or a free app. But I think that's part of the fun. If you put some restrictions on what you do, it makes you come up with solutions for it. And really, filmmaking is about solving problems. And that, if you enjoy that, and especially if you are on a budget, and if you ever make films, you will be on a budget. You get to solve problems that most people don't even think about. I think it'll make you a better filmmaker. It'll make you a better writer and maker of these creative stuff.
I was saying to my family yesterday, I love making apps do what I want them to do, even though that's not what they're set up for. Okay, so at the beginning of this slideshow video where you had the fanfare music and you had the outer space stuff and it said A Minor Films Presents, that opening sequence came from a trailer in iMovie. I didn't want to create a trailer, but I wanted that opening sequence for A Minor Films. So I created that part of it, and I exported, and I cut off the part that I didn't want. I edited it, and I took out what I didn't want, and I left what I did. And I can show you how to do that, and there's even some of you that don't have access to iMovie, I can create that opening sequence for you so that you can drop it in. But when you're working, if you can learn to do these things that we're going to teach you using these mobile devices, you will absolutely be able to do them on better equipment. If you learn to do it on like this is the cheapest kind of filmmaking that you can come up with. If you can learn to do it on the cheap like this, you can completely and totally learn to do it with a DSLR. You can learn to do it with the bigger stuff. It'll help you realize whether or not this is something you want to start investing money in, because can I tell you how much money this is a hobby? If you once the bug bites you, you move on and you start going, like all of your Christmas and birthday presents will revolve around software and equipment and,
How cool would it be
crazy
though
stuff.
if you could get that hobby and just use your phone for everything? Because the more you're talking, the more I'm realizing I spend too much money on other stuff.
It's a lot,
So,
yeah.
yeah, this is a great way to start then.
I saw a couple other hands. Yes, sir, in the back.
Can you use iPhone and Android?
Yeah, if you can make it play together. Sometimes we have some issues. There's different kinds of file types for videos. So sometimes that may be where your problem is. You may shoot it on one, and then the program you're using on the other may want a different file type or may not recognize it. That happens to the best of people, and that can be kind of tricky. We'll do our best if you run into that issue to kind of help you work through that. That might be one of those situations where we might have to talk you through using a program on the computer just to convert from one file type to another. But we'll try to make that happen as much as possible. Yes, ma'am.
I have two questions.
Sure.
One, if you want to use a song from far away, how would you like talk to them?
Really loudly.
Hey!
Yeah.
Oh, no, probably not.
Are you give me an example?
Like, if I wanted to have a song that was written
Just don't say
in
Justin
Japan,
Bieber.
Okay.
then
Right.
How would I like get their contacts? How would I ask them for the song?
That's kind of tricky. I mean, a lot of times that's moving through. I mean, the stuff that you guys do that you just show to friends and family that don't go online, you can throw those kinds of songs in with no problem. It's when you start to put that product out publicly that you start to have a problem. So for instance, Daryl and I both, when we make our projects, we make sure that if somebody else has created that and I don't specifically have permission, we pay for the song, we buy the rights to be able to use it in our productions, right? Or we use royalty free, which gives us the permission to use it, whatever. If you're going to be showing it just to friends and family, you don't have to worry about that. But even though I've purchased music and put it with my project and put it on YouTube, I've still gotten emails before from YouTube saying, we've taken your content down because our computers have said that the song you used is copyrighted. And I had to send an email back to them and along with a receipt and say, I purchased the rights to use this. And they said, okay, no problem, and they let me keep it on. But you've got some people that will really sue you if you start doing that. Now, chances are as a kid making a silly video, nobody's gonna try to sue you. But I think it is so much better to respect other people's creative stuff, because the people that write music and they sell it to people to use in their videos or their movies, those people are making a living trying to feed their family by doing that work. You would hate to have somebody come and hire you to cut the grass, and then when you were done say, oh no, I just wanted to see if you could cut the grass, I'm not going to pay you, right? So we want to make sure that we're respectful. So it can be tough to track down who has the rights to that. Sometimes it takes a lot of internet research, and if you can reach out by email and say, hey, can I use this in my silly kid video, then you're golden. You said you had two questions.
The biggest problem is time, waiting for them to respond to you, but every request I've made, I've been given permission to use within the educational setting, which this is.
Second question.
Is there?
And that's a good, guys, you can always reach out to us on email. So if you guys think of questions after, or you want to write it down on a piece of paper, we'll try to cover as much as we possibly can. One more question, then we're going to start demoing stuff. Go for it.
Mine is more of an answer to her of how you get a song from one person to another from phone to phone.
I think what she was asking is, how do you track down the person who wrote the music to get permission to use it? Like, what if it's a piece of music that came out of a particular piece of anime that you love, right? You track down who wrote the music, and then you want permission to be able to use it, and that's just kind of tricky.
One thing I keep hearing, I've got Sweet Home Alabama on my phone. If I transfer it from my phone to yours, I didn't give you that music. I don't have any way of giving you permission. You have the physical a copy you can listen to, but that's neither legal nor ethical, and that goes back to what she's talking about. These people are providing food for their families or whatever.
Yeah.
We don't really have the right to just take music from people. So just because I have a song and can give it to you onto your device doesn't mean anything, really. You're not protected by law. So that's why we get permission from artists. And a lot of artists already have permission that they've given us or they will give you. It's not as difficult as it sounds. For me, it's like a treasure hunt, because if I hear a really good song I like, I will get permission, and I've heard back from just about everybody I've ever asked for a song from. And some of them are some fairly big names. I don't know if y'all would know them because I am old, but some fairly big names. Bob Dylan, you guys ever heard of him? Okay, I got permission to use one of his songs, you know him. But I wasn't talking to Bob Dylan, I was just talking to his press or somebody. But you can track these songs down, and you can definitely get permission to use them without doing something unethical.
But it's always better to get that, yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, so there's two main apps. The Kindle Fire people are not going to have this app. You're going to use your built-in camera app. If you have not purchased this one, I recommend it highly. You can shoot the stuff with your built-in camera. That's not a problem. But I'll show you this camera app called Filmic. This is the stripped down version, Filmic Classic. There's also a Filmic Pro, which is what I use, but it's got way more extra settings than you guys are going to need. I'll show you what I like about this Filmic app, okay? You can see you've got the square and you've got this other reticle, okay? Now, the square, and if you guys want to follow along, if you've already got your app, if you want to pull it open so that you can kind of be say again?
Filmic?
Filmic Classic.
I
If-
have Filmora.
Filmora Go is your editing app. But that's okay. We'll, like I said, this is all about learning to do this. So if you want to just, you can just, you know, you don't really have to follow along if you don't already have the app on there, but just kind of watch what we're doing, okay? So a couple of cool things about this is, number one, you can set the focus, okay? So I'm putting the focus right on Mr. Hyde's face, right? Now watch. Now, do you see the bottom left of the screen? Do you see how this became a red circle? That's because I touched this button, and what this has done is this has locked in the focus. Have you ever tried to shoot video and you're trying to film somebody far away and somebody walks in front of the camera and all of a sudden the camera starts trying to zoom in and out and everything's blurry and you can't tell what's going on? This prevents that from happening, okay? So what you do is, if you know that you're going to be filming from right here, you can put exactly where you want that to be and you can lock it in, which means that if, Connor, would you walk in front? Just walk towards the TV. See, he's in focus, he's in focus, he's in focus. Now, watch what happens when he goes, do you see how that gets light and then dark? Did you see that? Watch it again. Connor, walk across again. Watch how bright in the screen. Do you see how it got dark? Okay. That has to do with the shirt bouncing light back, okay? That's called exposure. How bright or how dark your scene is the exposure. That's what the green reticle is for, okay? So now, if I put it on something very, very bright, everything is gonna kind of, it's gonna get a little bit dark. Let's see, let's find it better. Okay. Do you see how everything's kind of, let's see. All right. There you go. All right, so when I point this up at the light, can you see anything in that scene? Can we go ahead and cut the lights off back there? That would actually be a great idea. You can see how it gets really dark. Everything else in the scene gets dark. I'm going to use this. Okay. But it may be too dark for what you need in your scene, right? So you see how dark Mr. Hyde is, okay? I'm not sure if we can actually demo it without the lights now that I'm thinking about it.
I can move over here.
You know what? Let's open up a couple of those slots. Open up those windows.
This is good
The
practice.
human,
What they'll be doing.
this is real good. The human eye, when you, like from right here, I can see out front. My eyes are focusing and I can see cars in the parking lot, but I can also still see you. Cameras on your phone are not as good. They have to pick one or the other. They can't see something bright outside and still have it be bright enough inside for you to be able to see. So right now, the only thing that is set in is the focus. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and unlock that. If I shoot you guys, right? All right, so boom, I got it locked in. Okay, this is a good way to do it right here. Do you see the doorway on the screen?
Yes.
Can you see anything that's going on in the parking lot? You just see giant bright mass, right? But what if you needed to see what's going on out there? Now I can see a little bit more detail of the door, but now I can't see what's going on inside as well, right? So if I'm filming a scene and and there's windows, and I want to see what's going on in the room, I don't care what's going on outside. I just want to see the people in the room. Then what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to put that so that the people in the room look the best. And I can lock it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over this way. I'm going to lock that. Now when I go past the bright window, it doesn't change. It stays the way I have it set up. If I don't have that locked, watch what happens when I pan past the window. Do you see how it gets darker? Do you see that? Now what if I don't want it to get darker? You see what I mean? I want us to continue being able to see what's going on out here. If I haven't locked that exposure, then it's going to change just like that. Which is why if I don't have my focus on, it's going to do the same thing. If you watch the screen, it's kind of jumping a little bit. People are sometimes a little bit blurry. See? So this is one of the things about this app that I like, is that it allows you to actually lock those two things in. Now, how many of you actually have the app already on your device? The non-Kindle people. Okay? How about this? Who's got an Apple product that doesn't have it on there? Okay. Sent you guys an email. All right. This is what it looks like. It's this app right there. Okay. It's gray. I want to say it may be $1.99, maybe. Okay. Maybe 99 cents. Okay. I highly recommend that you get that app for that reason. The built-in camera app on your products aren't allowing you to set the exposure and set the focus. So if you have this device, you're going to be able to do that. Do you have any questions on that?
On Android, the Filmic is more. I don't know how much it is. I got it on the sale price, but I think it's like $6.
I think the one on Android is the equivalent of Filmic Pro on iOS, on mine. I use the Pro edition. We're trying to keep this as cheap as possible because we don't want you guys to feel like you have to buy $40 worth of apps to be a part of the show, okay? Or a show. You're on the show. You're on TV. If you're going to shoot with your basic camera app, you're not going to have that you're not going to be able to deal with anything other than focus. Let's see. And you know, you guys are like our complete guinea pig group. I
I'll
hope you
hunt
know
down
that.
some Kindle ones. If you guys find one, like she was saying, email, because there's a Kindle here and there. If you find one that allows you to mess with the white balance, the focus, those other things, let me know. I haven't found it yet, but there's so many to look through.
All right. So now check this out. All right. So you see how wide everything is. This is the built-in camera app on this iPad. See, everything is nice and wide. As soon as I switch though to video, do you see how much more zoomed in it is? That's something you'll have to pay attention to, because now if you thought you were going to be able to get stuff on the left and the right, now you're going to have to be more specific about pulling back so that you can set things up. Now with this one, you can actually move. You can tap where you want the focus, and it looks like what you can do is use your finger to brighten the scene or lower the scene. However, you can't lock it in where you want it to be. So when you go, you'll have to when you're planning out your scene, if you're going to need to pan with your camera across something very, very bright and you don't want it to try to get darker or brighten up the scene more than you've already set it, you'll have to keep that in mind, because otherwise it may affect how you can shoot. But you can totally shoot with the built-in apps. The Kindle people will be shooting with their built-in camera apps. Same goes for Android. Any questions so far? Yes, sir.
It's not really a question, but if you have a Kindle,
Mm-hmm.
there's a way to get Android on it. It just voices the words.
Yeah, it's kind of like jailbreaking an Apple phone, isn't it? And I don't know how many people. Well, when you jailbreak an Apple device, you can make it do things that Apple doesn't let them do. I don't recommend that, just because I like to be able to go to the Apple store if I'm having problems. I like to be able to actually get answers to the problems. All right, so when you shoot your video in Filmic, I want to show you this because we're going to give you some homework that involves shooting. All right, so when you shoot something, I'm gonna lock my focus in my. All right, you guys wave for me as I pan across.
It's not connected to the TV anymore.
That's okay. I'll fix that in just a sec. Everybody wave.
That's the worst
Yay.
waving I've ever seen.
That's so awful. Okay. All right.
Finally, y'all. Boo. Can we
Okay.
punish them if they don't wave? Even the parents? There were people that didn't wave.
They
Let's
didn't
see it.
wave.
Let's
We're gonna have to
see
try it
it.
again, huh? All right, so we're back up there. Let's try it again. It's being a little cranky about mirroring.
Yay.
Cranky. All right, go.
All right, watch this figure out. Any questions?
What you'll need to do with Filmic is you will need to make sure that you have saved the footage to your camera roll. Now, how many of you guys have used? How many of you have Dropbox downloaded? Okay, Kindle people, I don't think there's a Dropbox app for your Kindle. So what we'll need to do is you'll need to start hooking your Kindle to a computer to offload the file so that you can upload it, okay, to us. This is going to be the most boring of the classes, can I just say? I realize this is like eyeballs are glazing over, but this is the most. It all gets better from here. Yes, okay. So down here at the bottom of the screen, where you see what looks like a film strip, you're going to touch that, and I've got mine set up to go ahead and save that little video as you shoot it to the camera roll. So what we just shot, that's okay. I'll fix that. So it being in the camera roll, you'll have to locate it on your device to be able to upload to Dropbox. I know, see, it's just lame. So let me see if we can get this back up. Okay. So the little gear down at the bottom is settings. One of the things you're going to have to make sure that you have on your device is as much free space as possible, because when you shoot video, it's going to use up space fast, okay? So in this case, what we can do is you can see there's all kinds of settings that you can go into and take a look. Leave it where it is for Apple standard. Leave the settings exactly the way they are, is my point, when you download this. And you'll notice, you see right here where it says save to camera roll. If you do that, then you're going to be better off, because it's not going to be 2 copies on your device. If I was to select Filmic Library, it would save a copy inside the app, and then when I export it to my camera roll, it would be in the camera roll as well, which means if I've got, say, let's pick a huge number, if I've got a 1 gigabyte file that's inside my app, and I have a second copy of that in the camera roll, it's eating up 2 gigabytes, not just the 1. So if you will set it up to save to your camera roll, it's going to save you a whole lot of headache, because it'll just be right where you need it. Those of you that have Dropbox, go ahead and open up Dropbox. Now, each of you should have set up a Dropbox account. There we go. Oh my. Okay. Homework preview. Okay. All right. So
Which one do we have to? Which one?
you could just open the app up. This is what my Dropbox looks like. Okay. I've got bunches and bunches of different files. Okay. What you'll want to do is, do you see the 3 dots right here where files are? Do you see 3 dots? Okay. If you touch those 3 dots, we've got a drop-down menu. We've got create new file, upload file, create a folder, select, and sort by date. Okay. So let's create a folder. It's asking you what your folder name is. So why don't we just go ahead and make one that's called a minor film school. And then you're gonna hit the create button right there. Now, those of you who have devices that you have to be on Wi-Fi, you might have to do this when you get home, but I want you to see how to do it. All right, so now once I created it, it opened up right here. This shows what's in my new folder, which is nothing. I've got nothing in my folder right now, okay? But I want to put something in my folder. I want to put the waving film that we just did into my folder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once again, going to press the button with the 3 dots. So I've got create a new file, upload a file, and create a folder. Yes, you can put folders inside of folders. That's too complicated. What we're going to do is we're going to upload a file. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click upload. Now, first thing that comes up, it says photos. That's your camera roll. That's where your video should be. That's where ours should be. So it's pulling up some albums for me, and it's showing camera roll. So I've got all of your stuff on here. Here is, you can see how it's, here's the video we just shot. So I've just selected it. It's turned blue. It's got a check mark. Then you'll notice up here at the top, it says upload. You press that button, and it starts uploading. Now, do this on Wi-Fi. Don't do this over your cell stuff. If you start uploading massive video files to your Dropbox on your cellular account using all your plan's data, your parents will be very cranky with you, and they will be very cranky with me. So right now what it's doing is it's uploading. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move out of this because we don't have time to wait for it to use City Hall's Wi-Fi to put this up there. So what I'm gonna do is instead we're going to find a good video that I can show you how you're going to share. So this is actually, this video that came up first, this is one of the homework assignments. Mr. Hyde and I both did a homework assignment to show you what we want you to do. So you'll notice I've got the video selected right here, okay? All right. So this button up here at the top where it's got a square and it's got an arrow, when I touch that it gives me some options. One of them is copy link. That's a good one that can be done. That's one way that you can share it. You can copy the link to the video and you can put that in an email and you can send it to me. Another way that you can do it is you'll notice there's a little down arrow right here on the file. You can press that. And it gives me choices that say send link, make available offline, rename, copy, or move. I can also just click send link, and it comes up again. Now you'll notice I've got my choices of like mail. I can just copy the link and paste it into another email, but if I click mail, it's going to go ahead and it's going to pop up an email form. It says Rachel Ivy has shared a video with you using Dropbox. Okay? So all you'll have to do is just in the to part, you're going to send it to our email address, aminorfilmschool@gmail.com. The link is already there. When you send that to me, we're going to be able to download your homework. I'll be able to put it together in a video like I did the slideshow this morning, and that'll be the first thing that we watch next week. So let's talk about
What's the deadline on
the homework.
that? Yeah, it's gotta be before Thursday.
It needs to be, I would say Tuesday at lunchtime. And I'm going to send you an email that reminds you, okay? Tuesday at lunchtime is when it'll be due. I work on Tuesday, I work every Tuesday, but when I get off, that'll give me all day Wednesday to make sure I can pull all your stuff together and put it in. If something comes up, if life happens and you don't get to do the homework, that's okay, but it won't be in the video. And if you send it after lunchtime on Tuesday, there's a chance it won't be in the video, even if you get it to me before class. I had a couple of sets of pictures come through first thing this morning, after I had already put the final touches on it, and I wasn't able to include it. But try to do the homework as we assign it, because that's going to make things better for you. So let's talk about what our homework is. I'm going to send you an email with this. We want to make sure that you know how to make a short video with your device and upload it to Dropbox and send us the link. That's the whole purpose of this homework, okay? So how many of you, and I know you guys might not have even seen this movie, but how many of you are familiar with the idea of what's called found footage? or like the Blair Witch Project. Have you ever seen anything where they've done that? Okay, we've got a couple.
Cloverfield is also the
Cloverfield Monster. Okay, these are like, people have their devices and they're filming. They're filming themselves reacting to things, or they're filming what's going on and then something happens and they turn it around to their face and they're like, did you just see that? Did you just see that happen? That did not tell me that did not just happen, right? The Blair Witch Project is about a group of people that go out looking, like paranormal investigating, looking for something creepy in the woods. And there's one scene where the girl is trying to film herself reacting to scary stuff. You never see the scary stuff. You just see her reacting to the scary stuff. And there's like a flashlight under her chin, like you do when you're, at the, like this one. I'm so scared. Okay? We want you to no more than 10 seconds. It's got to be less than 10 seconds.
If it's 11, delete it or edit it and do it again.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing 10.
Shorten it down or keep doing it. Connor helped me with mine this morning. We did about 3 takes before I got it exactly the way I like. So it can be something that is truly scary. It can be something that is not scary at all. Okay? So let's see. We're going to see Mr. Hydes first. You ready?
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for the assignment this week.
Okay. That one was awesome. That came in at what, 7 seconds, I think? Okay.
I
Here-
tried to find something that would smear down when you look like the boogers in the movie. That you got tears and stuff.
Right.
But I couldn't.
Don't worry about focus. Don't worry about exposure. I found it easy with mine. I actually filmed this in the bathroom, right? One of the things to know is, like on an iPhone, the camera that's on the side that's opposite the screen, not the one that most people do selfies with, that's the camera that you want to be using. The one that is pointing towards you when you're looking at the screen is a lesser camera. I was doing this in the mirror. That helped me kind of see the screen and make sure I lined it up. I used a selfie stick to like just hold it steady. But here's mine. I'm so alone. They're all gone.
Hey Mom, I saved you the lost soda.
Don't mess with my sodas, man. They're all gone. Okay, so we want something like that. Less than 10 seconds, though. Okay? Any questions about that? And I'm going to send you an email that's got a couple of fun videos that we want you to watch. Some is going to be a little educational. Some is going to be just plain fun. Next week, we're going to start brainstorming what we're going to be doing for your trailer, okay? This week's all about just kind of getting to know you a little bit, kind of helping you see the big picture and walking through those apps. If you guys have any questions, you shoot us an email, okay? And we'll be on top of all of it. So I'm going to stop recording, and then we're going to get everybody together, and we're going to try to take one massive group selfie. Yes. Okay.